Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
Hello and welcome to Countryside here on Manx Radio. I'm Simon Clark.
And I'm Kirree. A couple of weeks ago we had a visitor to the Isle of Man, Heather Wildman, to have a lunch at Women in Agriculture and also talk about succession planning on the farms.
I talked to Debbie Martin about the Dogtivity, and also I speak to Boosh, Kerruish and Michael Taggart about the Mhellia auctioneering and also their lives in livestock haulage. Well, hello and welcome to another Countryside programme with Kirree and myself. It's been an interesting couple of weeks, Kirree. The veterinary situation seems to be a temporary fix, but it's not going to be long coming along the 1st of January, is it?
Absolutely not. It's very worrying times for the majority of the farmers that are involved with the current situation. It's an ever-changing world out there. It's big business, the veterinary industry. We're a small place here on the Isle of Man, and this can impact quite heavily, which we're seeing right now. We need to come together to find a solution and that works for everybody. You know, we only have very limited practices here on the Isle of Man that are doing their very best to accommodate where they can. But we're not out of the woods yet, are we?
No, we're certainly not. Anyway, changing the subject, livestock haulage has been part of the Isle of Man since I was a kid, certainly. The trucks going around with the cattle in the back of them and the big square bales and now the round bales, of course, and sacks of corn and barley in the past. Well, Boosh, Kerruish and Michael Taggart are two of the men that have been involved in it and in the agricultural world for quite a while now. I caught up with them about how their auctioneering has been going on the general Mhellias that have been happening around the Isle of Man countryside, and also the trials and tribulations of driving livestock around the Isle of Man. Firstly, have the Mhellias been as popular as ever?
Oh yes, I think so, yeah. I think they've been as popular as ever. Bit down on numbers, I think, people attending them, but yeah, as good as ever, yeah.
And Michael, you've... bit of injury has held you back from a few this year, though, so not done as many as normal?
No, missed a few this season. I've left it to Boosh and Michael. They've done an awful lot. I had the pleasure of doing a lot of the root and produce shows early on around Derby, Bluff and Andrews, so that was good fun doing them. But I've missed out on a lot of the charity Mhellias. Shame, I really enjoy doing them, so good nights.
Well, they're good nights because I think people donate and they make so much money for charity, isn't it? It's, I talk about it year after year, isn't it? It's like the tractor run and things.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It is immensely, I suppose, satisfying for you guys and the people who run the Mhellias to come out and at the end of it and say, do you know what, we raised £3,000 or something just from a night with a couple of pints and a couple of auctioneers, professionals.
Well, I wouldn't say professionals. That's quite a loose word to describe us. But yeah, you get a good run going with people, and as the night goes on, it gets better and better. You know, it's a bit tight to start with, hard going, but as the night they start flowing with a beer and all, it just happens, doesn't it?
But there's occasions, of course, the similar people are getting to these Mhellias, and they're renowned for getting a little bit of stick. It's like sort of MHKs at the Young Farmers concerts, isn't it? But they come back for more.
Ah, yeah, they really love it. Some of them, you know, you can give them a bit of stick, and certainly the MHKs. It's what a fella said to me: if you stick your head above the parapet, you're open target in the Mhellia. they can't avoid it. They've just got to stand there. Poor Alf Cannon and Tim Johnson going around the root and produce shows this year. They've had a bit of stick off me, but it's all part of the fun. If you're willing to be a politician, you've got to take a bit of flack with it, haven't you?
Has anyone sort of took offence over the years, Boosh?
One or two, and I have a bit of a disclaimer. I did at the Mitre or somewhere. I said it was at the Crosby. I said sorry about the language, but if you're offended, my name's Michael Taggart. It seemed to go down well. So,
but how has the way things have changed? I mean, used to, you know, the Mhellias and all, they would have a lot of the duck and chicken dinners and things like that. Things have changed a little bit over the last, I don't know, how many years you've been doing it?
30 odd years, Michael.
Really?
Will be 30 years, I suppose. I took over from Keith Kerruish and Leslie Quirk. That's how I got into it. They couldn't make it, and we decided we were going to have a go. There was myself and Bri Rad. I think Boosh was involved in it, and that's how we got into it. And it's just snowballed from there. We get sort of about a dozen a year to do, so lots of events and places we go to, and we raise a lot of money for various charities, whether it be for the anti-cancer, age concern, the one that was in the Black Dog Michael Kelly did this year for me, that's for child play of the Isle of Man, so yeah, good fun.
Well, moving on to the livestock haulage and the involvement with that side of the business, who was first involved in that of the two of you?
I think I was. I started working for Glenn Lee, in about 92. I was working at Ballamona Farm, and he stopped one day and said, "Are you busy this afternoon? I could do with a lift with the bags of seed from Corlett & Cowley's." I said, "Yeah, I'll come out," because I was self-employed. So I met him at the yard and went down and shifted 100-weight bags of seed, and that sort of got me. I was a nipper for a year, and then I got my licence. Skipper used to sit in with me, teach me how to drive. So I got my licence in 93. So.
And what were you hauling mainly then? Was it just livestock?
It was livestock in the mornings usually, and it was like 5 days a week for the meat plant back then. Meat plant it was. And then we'd be doing straw and animal feeds and hay and silage and everything in the afternoons. So very varied, and we do all sorts, lift and shift all sorts really. Even brought a bed back from Manchester for a certain couple, didn't I? A few years ago.
Do you ever get paid?
Oh yes, paid handsomely.
But you're, Michael, not far behind Boosh involved in it though?
No, not far behind. I went out, my first day I always remember, Glenn was away and Paul Hampton had been driving for Glenn and he'd finished, and I went to work. Glenn had put an advert and I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And I went out with his father, Eric, and he took me around all the farms for a week. He was sitting in the wagon, so I was smoking about 60 cigarettes a day.
Not personally.
Not personally, no. Eric was good to have a smoke in the wagon with you. But then you had Freddie Clegg and all used to drive for Glenn as well. He was on the milk tanker, and yeah, I've been on and off the wagons for years now. I drove for Glenn, and then I went to John Neen, and now work for his son Marty. So yeah, enjoy the cattle wagons. It's a thrill every day. It's not like carting sand or gravel. It's a different load every day, and agriculture's changed over the years. There's a lot less stock going into the Isle of Man meat, or the abbot, or whatever you want to call it, but certainly it's still stock to be moved, and the marts are not as long as what they used to be. The marts used to start in the middle of October.
Sean Boosh Kerruish and also Michael Taggart there telling us about the trials and tribulations of livestock handling and driving them around the Isle of Man, and it's there's more to it than meets the eye, Kirree, as they were saying.
Oh, there certainly is, and how it has changed over the years, but two real characters there, and many people outside of the farming community know them now for their charity work in the Mhellia auctioneer, and I'm surprised they have any voices left after that season.
And of
They're
course,
very good.
And of course Michael Kelly got on board with them now as well, but they're all fairly busy, so we were lucky enough to get a chat with a couple of them certainly. But there you go. It's a tough world, and it's one of them jobs, I suppose, that is very rewarding. You get around a lot of the farms on the Isle of Man, you meet all the different people, and plenty to chat about, I suppose. And
how they cope with the roads over here. They're driving them big lorries. They're huge, aren't they? Yeah. And how they get about. But well done to all of them. Great people in the countryside.
Well, a couple of male characters from the agricultural world there, but they're not alone.
No, absolutely not. We had a lovely character visit the Isle of Man just recently, Heather Wildman, also growing up on the farm there in Cumbria. It was great to have her over for the Women in Agriculture lunch and also the succession planning. I caught up with her between the two. So Heather Wildman, welcome back to the Isle of Man. I do believe this isn't your first time here.
No, this is my third trip. So I came when I was about 14 on a family holiday, and we stayed in Ramsey, which was absolutely wonderful. And Emma's took me for a tour around there, then. I was remembering the wheels and everything.
Oh, no.
And we went up on the train up the hill, so that was all great fun. And then, yes, I came when I was 19 for the Young Farmers AGM. With the girly whatnotters, and it was incredible. I don't know how much I remember, but a lot of fun was had.
I believe, and I do believe that was there a ban put in place shortly after some of those trips? They were a little bit wild.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, all that aside, Heather, you obviously grew up on a family farm as well, and today we had you over to talk about women in agriculture generally. How did you find it growing up on the farm?
Oh, it was wonderful. I was so lucky. I had Blossom the pony. Me and Blossom, we used to get up to all kinds of adventures and then progress to Dusty. And I had Judy the dog, and me and Judy and Dusty, we used to go off on adventures up around the hills, and I'd go and ride in and see my friend Lindsay and stacking bales of hay. And I remember Dad, he was always trying to get too much in, and like, I can't lift it, Dad.
Oh, they are the best memories, aren't they?
Yeah.
And as a teenager, I assume, well, obviously getting into Young Farmers was probably the base for everything that you've done.
Oh, Young Farmers was wonderful. I can't tell you how grateful I am to Young Farmers. The friends, the people, the skills, the fun, the mischief. Thank God there wasn't phones and videos.
I've got to agree.
Oh, my God. My mother thought she knew too much then. She'd have been horrified. But I tell you, it's a wonderful organisation. The public speaking, the leadership, the discipline, the skills, chairing meetings and actually being committed and being part of a team was wonderful. I'm very grateful.
And I suppose that kind of set you in good stead for what you do now. After leaving the farm, you've had a pretty busy life.
No, I've been really lucky. I've had a number of jobs. My parents always said, God, what's she doing now? Can she not stick at something? But, when I look back, it's all been meant to be, from working as in the machinery business, the dairy equipment business for De Laval, to being a sales rep for minerals and things, to then first milk area manager and then an extension officer for Dairy Co. They've all been really varied, but they've all been about people. They've all been about people, and I didn't realise that that must be a skill.
And that said, dealing with agricultural people is a skill on its own. Farming is such a tight enterprise. It has tight margins. How have you seen it change over time as a lady in agriculture?
Well, lady, I like that, thank you. Have I seen it change? I think it's less relaxed. I think we've got more stressed. There's more. There seems to be less hours in the day. Everybody seems to be juggling too much, and I don't know whether that's just us, because we see more. We're trying to do more because of all this openness of social media and everything. Are we more competitive? The children are doing more. There's a little bit of me just thinks, hang on, we could do less. And just sort of do less and do it better. For women, there used to be this big thing, oh, women can multi-skill. And I learned I could do an awful lot of things badly. And I have. And I've now actively and consciously said, no, do less, Heather, and do it better.
And that said, obviously today when we were listening through your life story, it has been bright and colourful, but it hasn't gone without its hardships too, Heather.
No, and I've had some lovely mentors and some real inspirational people in my life. And what I always think, when the chips are down, you know who's there for you. And I put a slide on, are you a radiator or are you a drain? And I always think it doesn't matter what happens to you, it's how you react to what happens to you. And radiators are people in your life that lift you up, motivate you, challenge you, have got your back, who see you and really push you and drive the best out of you. But look out for the drains, the negative, the moaners, the people who put you down, hold you back, that do not want you to succeed, but sometimes can be wolves in sheep's clothing. But also I always say to people, look in the mirror, and are you a radiator or are you a drain as well? Do you lift people up and encourage and support them, or are you, well, that's not going to work, what you're doing that for? Well, I don't think we should do that, and I think in today there's a lot of negativity. And, we need to be realistic, but also, gosh, we've got a lot to be grateful for.
And that said, today, this session with the ladies that turned up from the Isle of Man's farming community and broader sections of it, to create an action group, do you think we've got the base for it here?
Oh, what a wonderful group of women. What a wonderful group of women. That energy in the room was wonderful. The noise. And what was so nice was the different age profiles, the demographics and everything as well. A real mix of backgrounds, like you say, different careers, different industries, different stages of their lives. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun. And I really look forward to seeing what you achieve. And I think you've got a great, Emma's driving it. There's a good mix of powerful ladies in that room that, you can't do anything on your own. And if you ladies can just collaborate and help support each other, because it's quite isolated. And as an industry, we're not always the best at backing and supporting each other, even within our own sectors. So if you guys can do that, even if there's disagreements, right, what do we agree we're going to do, and just make it happen.
And that said, you're obviously involved in these groups in the UK. Are you seeing more and more ladies getting involved?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, I've never felt sort of a woman in agriculture that it held me back. I've been really lucky, and I was surprised that we needed it. And for me, the whole ambition when I was chair of Women in Ag in Scotland is that we should get to the point there shouldn't need to be. But a lot of women don't feel comfortable in a room that's full of men asking a question, because women are taking on an awful lot more. A lot of women are active farmers and everything, and sometimes they don't feel they can go to some of the meetings, or they feel a bit intimidated. So that's exactly why we do this organisation, for folk to be able to share, to talk. And the other thing that people say about is sometimes some of the other groups and organisations are quite negative. There is no negativity in our meetings. It's a can-do attitude.
And that is inspirational on its own. You've probably spoken tonight. Well, you will. You'll be speaking to young farmers tonight. You're involved with young farmers. It's sometimes that pep talk that they need to push on.
Yeah, I think it's just saying to someone, you can do this. What is it you want to do? What's going to hold you back? Right, and what's going to make you do it? What do we need to do? And then break it down in step by step. And if you've had a bad day, if things have gone wrong, that's not the end of the world. It's a bad day, and I always think sometimes myself, just have a sleep, Heather. It's like a child, isn't it? Just sleep on it, and tomorrow will be a better day. And that is so, so true, because when we are tired, we are never our best selves. And sometimes we can make it bigger in our heads. So sometimes if you've got a good person to talk to share it off, you've solved it. Even just getting the words out of your head can sometimes diffuse everything. So yeah, I think for young people to know that they can do it, it's possible, and just give them a chance.
I do believe that, like I say, tonight you'll see some of the island's farming community come together. It's no different than any other part of the UK and Wales and all these topics that we talk about. But tonight, succession planning is always a difficult topic. How do you find it?
Yeah, I'm privileged. I'm so privileged to be invited into people's lives and businesses. And we've got families. Some of them are like a duvet of love and care and nurturing and respect and encouragement and value. And it's just beautiful. They just need some guidance and some support of how to have the conversation. Have you thought about this, that and the other? And then sadly, there are other farms that are toxic, critical, brutal, bullying, controlling, hostile, but people hang on in there because they might get the farm. And the impact that has on their mental well-being, on the productivity of the farm is criminal, really. So yeah, I never know what I'm going into, and you never judge a farm by the drive or the buildings. I try and do as much work beforehand to sort of get a guidance, but for me, my whole legacy is to encourage more families to have the conversation before there's an issue. Don't put it off. It's easy. It is easy. What do you want to do? What are you thinking about?
There we go. That was Heather Wildman.
Well, it was great to have her on the Isle of Man. Real enthusiasm, and certainly knows her stuff about succession planning, Kirree.
Absolutely, it is food for thought, and here on the Isle of Man it's always great to have a visiting speaker with a different view on farming life. And Heather's experience, growing up on a farm herself, having a sales background, and then always involved with whatever's going on in agriculture, whether it be career options or education, and being a Nuffield scholar herself, she's been around the world. Fantastic to hear her stories and give us inspiration to push on as well.
And it's a strange one how agriculture has been since, you look at 50, 100 years ago, succession planning was, you're working on the farm with me and this is how we do it. Nowadays, last 30 or 40 years, lots of agricultural colleges and exams and things that the younger ones is available to them, isn't it?
Well, this is it. There's many children born and grown up on the farms, and in the past it's been given to the eldest child, more often a male child. So to see now it changing around with females being involved with agriculture, it's really, really great that we can have that mixed growth in the industry, but also the opportunity to go into different elements of farming life, whether it be, like you say, through the academics and doing a course or going to university and bringing something different back to farm life. It's great that everyone can be included.
Okay. What do you know about Dogtivity?
Wow.
Well, we'll find out in a second. You're listening to Countryside here on Manx Radio with Kirree Kermode and myself, Simon Clark. Well, Dogtivity. I wasn't sure what it was all about, but I spoke to somebody who was, well, no stranger to these sort of activities, so to speak, Debbie Martin, and she told me more about the event that's happening in Kirree on Saturday the 6th of December. So firstly, just explain what Dogtivity is.
So the Dogtivity, this will be the third one. And the Dogtivity is the nativity story told with dogs playing the pivotal roles.
Right, so you've got Mary, Joseph, the baby, you've got the
three
shepherds.
wise dogs, shepherds, sheep, yes, innkeeper, all of them are played by different dogs that train with Busy Bee.
And how difficult is it to get these dogs, or does it show the training that you're going through with the dogs sort of pays dividend?
Well, I think so. All of the dogs are already taking part in some form of training, so it's not dogs that are new to it, although we do have one from the puppy class, but she will be, because she's only very small, she'll be carried, so she's a little angel. Betsy, her name is. But otherwise, all the dogs are already undertaking training in different areas, so they're kind of already there, and they're prepared to do tricks, and we do make sure that they're comfortable with a busy environment and with people around them and the other dogs they're working with.
Well, my youth involved in the nativity plays involved putting sacks and homemade tea towels and things. Do the dogs get dressed up to a certain degree?
Yes, they do. Yes, they've all got outfits to wear. So the angels have got wings and halos. And again, people are getting them used to wearing it before the day. But yes, they will all have outfits of some sort. But I'm not going to give it all away. They'll have to see it on the day.
Third time you're doing it then.
Third time.
How well has it been received? Because obviously it's something very unusual.
It is something very different. The first time we did it here at the centre, and it was just a little bit of a play around to see what happened, and it was busier than we ever anticipated. So we moved out to the Kirree Parish Hall, which is that wee bit bigger, and the last time it was phenomenal. We were packed to the hilt with as many as we could fit in, with a lot of media interest as well. And it appeals to everybody, from very young ones to not so young people. And they've all enjoyed a different take on the story.
What about the breeds of dogs that's taken place? Do certain breeds get the certain roles? Or is it just size or the most obedience?
Well, the first time we did have the cockapoos as sheep. And then the second time we did it, they mutinied and said they didn't want to be typecast. So we have breeds literally from very little mixed breeds up to a Leonberger and everything you can imagine in between. So there's a big variety of dogs all taking different roles.
Right. So is this one outside this time?
No, this will be indoors.
Right.
Yeah, it's inside, in at the Kirree Parish Hall on the Bretney Road.
Now, you got your own dogs in as well?
Yes, Ross, my border collie, is playing Joseph this year. So he's got another border collie called Meg playing the part of Mary, although we do think she's a little bit more Mary, quite contrary. So anything could happen with a dog with a sense of humour.
But what about props and things like that? Is that a big part of it too?
Well, it all takes a part of it, yes. The innkeeper will have a reception desk. There's a stable set up. So we'll have that set up, and mostly it's all about the costumes and the story, but obviously we've got things that will add to the flavour of it.
Well, obviously a lot of the training that goes on at the Busy Bee dog training here in Ramsey, it must be quite pleasurable seeing some of the owners wanting their dogs to take part in it.
Oh, it's lovely to see it. I realise it's not for every dog. Some couldn't cope with that many people about them. But for people taking part, we've had people asking to be a part of it because they've seen it before. So it is lovely in any area of the training to see dogs and their owners coming together as a team, enjoying each other's company, and then going on to do something a little bit different like the Dogtivity.
Right, so just let's recap when it is and where and what time it all starts.
Okay, so it's the Saturday the 6th of December, doors open at 2:30. And it's at the Kirree Parish Hall, Bretney Road. There's no admission charge to see the Dogtivity. Any donations we receive, if anybody would kindly like to donate, it will go to Noodles Canine Rescue. This is the charity set up with a drone to help people find dogs that have got lost in whatever way. We do also ask that public don't bring their own dogs with them, just on the basis that we're pretty tight on space and we don't want to distract the cast. Thank you.
There we go, Debbie Martin telling us, clearing things up about Dogtivity. And great that that they can get the animals involved in just something a little different for this time of year, isn't it?
It's absolutely wonderful what they get up to with their pets these days and how obedient these dogs are. My word, I think some of our farm dogs need some lessons in how to behave like that. But so lovely to involve your furry companion. It's great what they do up there.
It is. And you've got an event that you want to mention as well before the end of the programme?
Yes, coming up on Sunday, Sunday the 30th of November at Knockalow Central Marts are hosting the Southern District Agricultural Show, the Christmas Prime Stock. This will involve sheep, cattle, young farmers. There'll be hot and cold drinks available and food as well. So get over there and see the very best of the Christmas Prime Stock livestock. Starts at midday for all the exhibits to be penned up, with young farmers at 1 o'clock, continuing through the afternoon with the championship at 4:45. So there we go. The Southern District Christmas Prime Stock Show is a 4.
Wow. Anyway, that's it for this week's programme. If you missed any of it or want to hear some of the interviews in a fuller one, go to manxradio.com and you can download the podcast for free there. That's it, though. We'll be back next week with more. So until then, from me, Simon Clark.
And me, Kirree Kerruish.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.